And so you wanted to change the world?
I don't know, teen angst growing up. You know, if there is like a God, like a higher power, a supreme being. This
Yeah?
man,
Nice.
this is really nice. Thank you.
No problem, man. Yeah, yesterday I was, or these days I was thinking about, okay, so how do I make a podcast? And like to have a good conversation, you have to be comfortable, right?
Right.
And I was thinking about, so, okay, how can I make the guests comfortable? And I guess I have to be comfortable first, right? If
Yeah.
I'm like not comfortable, I guess the other person won't. It's difficult for the other person to feel comfortable, and I thought to myself, "Fuck." So, how do I feel comfortable? How do I make myself feel comfortable? And thought about like incense
Mm-hmm.
or just these things, the aromatic
Yeah,
things.
it's just very relaxing. A nice cup
Yeah.
of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went to the store yesterday. It has like all kinds of Buddhism stuff,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool place. So yeah, anyways, that's my girlfriend and I went there yesterday and I bought 2 of these.
Oh, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I
No
know my
problem.
wife is gonna love it too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Do you guys have religion?
No,
By the
no,
way?
we don't.
No.
Like we're both. I guess you could say spiritual. Like we are spiritual, but at the same time, we don't really follow any sort of organized
Mhm.
religion. I don't know. Maybe we just haven't found the right one yet. But
Mhm.
it's just kind of we just try to do our best to be good people and live according to, values that we agree on.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Or so, what's your take on God? Hey, can you speak into the microphone more?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Get closer more.
Yeah. So for me, yeah, I don't know. I kind of have some I guess issues with that just because like some things that maybe I saw or experienced when I was in the army like have kind of, if there is like a God, like a higher power, a supreme being who is, omniscient and always there, it's like why does he allow for certain things to happen? Like, for example, I had a friend just had a baby, deployed back to Iraq for the 3rd time, and then was killed within 3 weeks of being back there. And it's like, like he just had a kid, like he just bought a
Yeah.
house with his wife. What's the big picture? Why did this happen? So I guess for me, just this idea of following and obeying a being that like allows this to happen, it just kind of, I'm not okay with that yet.
Mhm.
I think, years in the future, I'll probably reach some kind of closure with this, but it's just kind of, it bothers me. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I just try to be a good person on my own terms and like improve the world, make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm. And in States, it's Christianity that is
Mhm.
like the most popular.
Yeah. It's, I think it's pretty difficult to find people, like especially like in the South, in the States, that don't identify as some kind of Christian, like Baptist or
Mhm.
something like this.
Mhm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because like States is one of the most developed countries,
Yeah.
and it's pretty religious at the same time.
Yeah. It's really interesting to me too, because every time I go back and visit, I see people like posting like that I'm friends with on Facebook and I've known for years, and they're always posting like scriptures and like thank you to God for this opportunity. But at the same time, it's like I see them like going out and doing drugs and like having affairs. It's just like I don't see the connection there. And so it's another one of the things that bothers me with organized religion, especially like the way some people approach it. It's like if I'm gonna devote myself to a higher purpose, a higher meaning, and follow one God, then I'm gonna do it 100%. I'm not gonna do it just on Sunday.
Yeah. It's kind of similar in Korea. Maybe it's worse. Like, churches are used as a business. It's a business model, because you don't pay tax if you run a church.
Yeah.
And in Korea, people just open a church and they like learn about the Bible and then start preaching. And in Korea, it's a very popular thing that churches do. You pay like 1/10 of your income every week, and they get shitload of money.
Yeah.
And they don't have to pay tax. And recently, this guy was arrested, and he had a huge church. He had like a bunch of churches. It's like a brand,
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know how much it is in dollars. But let me search for that. How much it is?
Yeah, and that's one thing that bothers me a lot too. In the U.S., you have these mega churches like Joel Osteen and these guys that just own these multi-million-dollar mansions and are taking the percentage of their congregation's income and just on these television broadcasts saying donate your money now, your prayers will come true, like this kind of thing. And it's just like exploiting people and taking advantage of them, and I think it's really wrong.
Definitely, man. And it's kind of crazy that so many people get into it. Yeah. And not able to tell that it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and that's something that always interests me. Like, I like to watch these documentaries about people who found themselves in a cult or found themselves, in, I don't know, for example, Scientology, which I guess you could call a cult anyway. But it's like, how do you fall into this? Like, how do you... Like, because I mean, like you and me, like we think, we sit here and we think, wow, that's crazy. Like, why would somebody like voluntarily put themselves in that position? But it's like, what's the gateway to that? Like, do they meet someone who's like, normal, and then they slowly like indoctrinate them into this way of thinking until they like bring them into the church or whatever? Or is it just like some kind of sudden thing? I don't know. But it's a really interesting thought process, how someone can go to that.
For Scientology, you have to pay shitload of money to like level up.
Yeah,
right?
Especially like the higher levels, man. If you're not like some kind of celebrity, I don't think you can attain the higher levels.
I think like Tom Cruise reached the top level.
Yeah.
And he was given like this barrier that blocks out the negative vibes and all these things. Yeah. I mean, if it's true, it's great for Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I hope it's true, but here's another thing. Like, you have to pay a shitload of money, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily like false or fake just because you have to pay a lot of money. I think.
Yeah.
Like, if there is a way to block out negative energy and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what if it is true?
It probably costs a lot,
Yeah. What if L. Ron Hubbard was like, he found the truth, and this is like the real way to do it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, that Korean guy, he took. Wait, how many people live on Earth, man? 7 billion. So he had like $10 billion. From church.
Wow.
From running this church.
And this is the guy that went to jail.
Yeah. He's now like going in and out of court. He was denying everything, but every day they found something new, like, oh, you took $10 billion. You said you didn't take anything, but you did.
Wow.
Yeah.
$10 billion.
And there are so many branches of different Christianity.
Yeah.
And in Korea, like, sometimes they have some conflict, even like among family members, like, because somebody goes to this branch of Christianity, someone else goes to this, and they like deny each other's religion and shit.
Wow. I mean, you usually find that between like different major religions, but not within the same main religion.
Actually, the Christianity in Korea is the most problematic, I'd say, among the religions. Like, they go to Buddhist temples and like vandalize the place, and then they take like a picture of them doing that.
Wow.
And they take proud. And it's a because they interpret the Bible like in the wrong way. Like in the Bible they say like you shouldn't worship an idol
Hmm.
or other gods, and that's how they interpret it. They think they are spreading God's words and spirit by doing this.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, it's the opposite of what the God wants us to do. What God wants you to do, right? God wants you to love your neighbor and
Yeah.
not steal, not rape your neighbor's wife.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
don't do
exactly.
anything bad to your neighbor.
Yeah. Just be a good person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's even similar, like in Islam, how it's you're not supposed to show the faces. So like when you're in a mosque, you never see like the Christian murals and all this. It's always just like the really elegant Arabic script that's like decorating the mosques and stuff.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, I love that architecture. Like it's just amazing to me. But then you go to a Christian church and you see like these like murals, like even the stuff that like from the Renaissance.
Mhm.
Like it's just amazing.
Yeah,
man.
they're amazing.
Yeah.
I saw these. You see these murals in church here.
Yeah, yeah.
Churches here, and in Korea, like we don't have these European churches, and we don't have these murals that were preserved over like hundreds of years.
Right. Yeah, that's really what I'm curious about because I'm used to these like Renaissance and Baroque style churches here in Europe, and I'm used to seeing interiors of mosques. So I know like these styles, but what does a Christian church look like in Korea? Like what is it?
It's basically very plain
Mhm.
most of the time. It's not like here you go to church and it's like 100 years old, and you
Yeah.
have like cool statues. In Korea, it's more modern building.
Mhm.
You have like a big cross and some statues, but I don't know how to explain. Maybe I can find some.
Yeah,
picture
because
or-
I'm really curious now.
Um, Like for example, like you would see buildings like this.
Okay, so
Like
really modern.
Yeah. Or like this.
Hmm.
I would say these things are pretty common.
Yeah, it's really similar to American churches.
Oh yeah?
Like, yeah, it's the same kind of buildings. Like, yeah, like this brick and
Mhm,
glass.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this could be a church
Oh wait,
in
this
America.
this is Queens Korean Presbyterian Church. So this is actually an American.
Oh.
Is in America.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Wow, this says church is a prostitute. It's a news article. Should we click it?
Yeah. Let's see what this has to
I
say.
think we should see what this says. I will also record the screen so I can put it in the video. So, well, you can read it, but in the church, you don't need to think. What is it? A reverend said, you just say amen and you obey the God's Spirit. And lots of reverends agreed to this. So this is it's criticizing the Christianity in Korea, basically.
Mhm.
Quite comprehensive. This guy was pissed.
So it's like an opinion article?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but yeah, it's a pretty serious issue in Korea.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah. So you never had a religion since you were a kid?
Oh, what?
Never had a religion?
Oh, yeah. No. No.
Because my mom, like, forced me to go to church with her.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I hated it at the time. Now that I
Mhm.
think about it, I think it was good that I experienced it, like
Yeah.
what it was. Like, learn about the Bible and...
Yeah, I think the last time I was in church, I was maybe 12 years old because my family was Baptist, and so like I would go a few times to church. Like I never went like every Sunday or something like that, but yeah, I would go and I actually read the Bible like by myself just because I wanted to understand what it was about, and I found it to be pretty interesting, but I never really, you know, what do you say, like, gave myself to God, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you said that you had some experience in the army
Mhm.
about God.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, yeah. I guess I feel like if
Oh,
he,
you mean with your friend from
yeah,
Iraq?
yeah. So I guess basically my thought is, you know, if he is real, then I just kind of harbor this anger at him for like allowing these things to happen, you know.
Mhm.
And then when I see the news, you know, like thousands of people dying and like this situation or that situation, it just, you know, I just question, you know, why is it like that? And I mean, I know there's like a lot of answers. I've read a lot of like theological writings about this issue, but to me, it's just not a good enough answer yet.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think maybe it's something that comes with time. You know, when you accept something and then just kind of move on with it. Yeah.
Mhm. One sec, the camera.
Ah.
Why did you go to army?
For me, it was just a matter of, you know, I saw the state that the world was in. Like, this is 2007 when I decided to join the army, and I just really wanted to do my best to like change the world and make it better and help people. You know, that's really my goal. You know, and then also it was nice, you know, when I found out that, you know, college would be paid for, and it's like a way to learn skills that I could use after I left the army, because I never, you know, imagined that I would spend 20 years in the army. You know, I was in for 7.5 years, and for me that was more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
7.5 years.
Yeah.
And so you wanted to change the world?
Yeah. I wanted to just contribute and do something to make it better, you know, and I thought, you know, like humanitarian missions and going to Iraq and, you know, interacting with like the local people could kind of, you know, change the perception of the West. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think it's all just a big cycle at this point. Like violence begets violence, and it just happens over and over again.
So would you say that it's your ultimate goal as a human being, Charles Wolford? Like you want to change the world, less violence, more
Yeah.
peace?
I just want it to be better for everyone, you know, like
Mm.
to just contribute in some way to make this happen.
And what motivated you to be like this, to have this goal?
I don't know. I think it was just a combination of things, really. Just I don't know, teen angst, growing up, feeling, you know, powerless to have any change on anything, and then realizing, oh hey, you know, well the army is like a good, you know, entryway into actually becoming something and like having a voice, because, you know, like when you like go up in rank, it's like what you say has a little bit more weight, you know, like
Mhm.
you can get more accomplished. And so like that's what I thought. I was like, you know, I'll join the army for a while, learn some skills, then get out and, you know, do my own thing, figure out what that would be like while I'm still in the army. Yeah.
But like, what motivated you to want to help people and better the world?
Yeah, I think really just watching the news and reading news articles and just seeing like what a bad condition like
Mhm.
so many places we're in, you
In
know?
the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just seeing like people my age, like when I was a teenager, like, you know, starving and dying, and it just felt really unfair to me that, you know, I can go to McDonald's and like order as much food as I want, and like looking at the obesity rate and like people around me, and just like seeing this, that we're actually ruining, like destroying our health by eating too much, while
Mhm.
people are like starving and, you know, dying because of this. Like,
It's a poor distribution of wealth, would you say?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, because some people are fucking poor as fuck, man,
Yeah.
and they can't pay for dentist,
Yeah.
and they don't have teeth,
Yeah.
and this is common. Like in the city I worked in over the summer, and I worked at this restaurant, and the two Czech girls who worked there, were gypsies,
Mhm.
and they had like kids since they're 15,
Yeah.
and so they have a family since 15, right? They have a husband and kids, like 3, 4 kids,
Yeah.
and but they're not officially married, because if they're not officially married and she has kids, then she can get paid by the government, like a single mother welfare, and she actually lives in the government building. She doesn't have to pay rent, and she gets paid, and they can't get caught working regularly. So they're like living on the edge, man.
Yeah. That's
and
rough.
and they can't pay for the medical bills. They're barely managing everyday life because they have kids and everything. And
Yeah.
just 1 hour away from Prague, it was kind of shocking for me.
Yeah.
It's 1 hour away. It's called Zatec.
Okay. Yeah. I know Zatet. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've been there. Yeah.
Why? How?
Well, I was just like when I first moved here, I was going like all over Czech Republic because I wanted to see, what it was like everywhere.
And how was it?
It was cool. Yeah, it was a nice town.
What did you do there? Did you go to the brewery?
I didn't go to the brewery. I just was walking around in the square and just like seeing it. And I went to some restaurant there. I don't remember the name, but it was like traditional Czech food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, 20,000 people.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty small.
yeah. I like these small towns though.
Yeah, it is. I liked it too. I liked just small town vibe.
Yeah, yeah. Because like for me, it's more authentic and representative of the Czech culture. Like whereas Prague, I think it's pretty gentrified. Like if you walk around and you see like half the stuff's in English, like and it's nice for me like as a English speaker, like it's great. But I also really enjoy going and seeing like the real Czech Republic, I guess. Yeah.
Man, how does it feel to be an American person? Do you like wake up and look at yourself and like, shit, I'm American?
I just look in the
superpower country,
America. Yeah.
Like,
man, I don't know. Like it's weird for me because I just feel so disconnected to America because I haven't lived there since 2012. 2012, yeah. And so now when I like talk about something to like one of my friends like back in the US, and he's like, no, it's not like that anymore. It's like this, and I'm like, whoa, it's just it's. I feel like my idea of America is just really different now. Like even the prices of things and like everything's really changed in the last 6 or 7 years, and
in a good way or in what way?
well, I feel like things have gotten more expensive. Because I remember I was talking about like Taco Bell or something, I think, and I was like, yeah, like I just want to get this and he's like, no, dude, that's like $2 now. I'm like, what? It's 99 cents. Like just like these little inconsistencies that make me like take like be surprised, So I mean, just little stuff like that, and then I don't know if it's being warped by the media and then amplified by Facebook or whatever, but I just see so much arguing and just political division and like I don't know if it's really that bad, but it just seems crazy to me right now, like everything going on. I don't know.
So why did you come to Czech? What was the motivation? How did it happen?
Well, my last duty station in the army was in Germany. And so when I was living there, I was always traveling to Czech Republic because it was right across the border, and it was really cool. And I just decided, hey, I'm gonna move there because I met my girlfriend, who is now my wife. Met her like a year before I got out of the army, but then we were friends for a while, and then we, started dating, about 5 months before I got out of the army. And before that, I was planning to move to London when I left. And then I just decided, hey, I'll move to Czech Republic and be with her, because like it was really getting serious at that point, and I could tell that we were gonna have a future. So I moved to Prague, and still here. planning to stay in Czech Republic though. I really like this country.
So she was working there.
She had friends that were living in Germany. Like one of her friends was German, and like we knew some of the same people. So we met each other. We met each other through a mutual friend, and then we just like kept in contact, like as friends, and then it became more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Prague is very romantic city.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I talk to have met someone here, or they came here because of specific someone.
Yeah.
So now, how long have you been together with your girlfriend?
We've been together since November 2014. Yeah, November 2014. And then we've been married since September last year. So we just had our 1-year anniversary. So that was nice.
Did you guys like have a big wedding, or?
No, it was super small. We wanted to have something just really intimate with like really close like family and a couple friends. Like it was really small.
Mm-hmm. Like in the church, or?
We did it. Well, it's kind of funny. Well, she doesn't find it funny. I think she's still a little mad about how it turned out. But we had this really nice outdoor chapel that's made out of stone, like carved into the side of a mountain, and it's really beautiful. It's deep in the forest, and then that's really why I switched to Apple. Like in 2010, I just like made the jump because I was using like Windows and Android, and I was like, well, I keep hearing about Apple, like I'm gonna try it out. And then dude, I had one laptop for like 6.5 years before it started slowing down, and it was still usable. I was just doing like heavy batch photo editing that like I really like. I feel like I could justify the upgrade because I was editing photos like every single day, huge batches of it. So I upgraded finally after that many years.
Can you speak into it a bit more?
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah.
Is it better?
Yeah, I think Apple products are expensive, but they fucking last.
Yeah, man, exactly. And I don't
fucking
care.
last.
I don't care to pay the premium if it's something that is gonna, like the build quality is just great. Like I love how it feels. It's super durable, and the software OS runs perfect, very smooth, and then just the longevity of it. Like I know if I buy something, it's gonna be good for years.
And the price doesn't drop that much either.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You have a resale value.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't even think there's that much premium you pay in the price because they fucking last forever, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so durable.
Yeah, and like what you would save, like in my opinion, by buying a Windows model, like, but by a company that maybe like isn't putting such a emphasis on the build quality and stuff, like the stuff that you're gonna have to pay to get repaired, like over that time is probably gonna equal what you would pay for like a MacBook or whatever anyway. So I think it's worth it.
I just changed the hard drive to an SSD last year.
Oh yeah, fast.
And it's snappy. I can't really play games, but
but that's really nice though, because that's the model, like the last one that you can actually modify. So it's really good. You can swap out the RAM and the hard drive and everything, because when they started doing the Retina models, you can't do that anymore. And so that kind of bothers me because I'm a little bit of a computer nerd. I like to tweak it and like switch the stuff out. And so for me, this is like the ultimate MacBook, because you can still modify it and you can really like deck it out with whatever you want.
Do you open it up and like change shit?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh fuck, man!
Yeah.
You really get in there. Huh?
It's fun, man.
I changed the SSD card myself as
Yeah.
well, and I was fucking nervous. You know, I'm like unscrewing. I had like rubber gloves on so that I don't
Yeah.
fuck everything. And I'm
Yeah.
like taking picture. Okay, this screw was here, here, and I was so careful with it, but it wasn't so difficult.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's pretty easy. And then like for example, I built a PC in like I don't know 2009, and it was just a nightmare, man. Like just the interior of it, like all the components and everything. And when you open up a MacBook, it's just clean and everything's like really laid out in a good way. You don't have
Yeah.
cables and ribbons and everything laying around.
Intuitive.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the inside of it, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And in Korea, you know, we have Samsung.
Mhm.
And when the iPhones first came out, they were trying to compete, you
Yeah.
know, with smartphone. And I mean, I guess they still are competing, but they were like advertising that Samsung phones are better.
Hmm.
And I guess in certain aspects there are better things, but for me, Apple stuff, it's more well thought out, and
Yeah.
they were making this thing for a longer time. You know, they were making MP3 players. They make computers. They Apple just has a longer history, accumulated knowledge about these electronic devices. And
Yeah.
Samsung, I guess, they caught up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Don't know how, but yeah, they caught up pretty quick. And now it's the Chinese companies that's going to be like next, like Samsung, kind of. Like they're already close to, they're chasing Samsung
Yeah.
with electronic devices.
Yeah,
all
and
these
I mean
things.
like Hawaii, like they've got the Leica camera lenses in them now. Like that's just, man, if there was an iPhone with a Leica camera on it, I'll never buy another phone. That's it.
And it's crazy, man. Like the Chinese, they're buying a lot of things, you know. They're
Yeah.
buying like, you know, in almost all new Hollywood movies, there are some Chinese actor or actress
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
don't say much, but they're there.
Yeah.
You know? Because they bought like, they have the share now. They're like major shareholder in like Sony Entertainment.
Hmm.
I don't remember the big movie productions, but they have the share, and I think like new generations, they will be very familiarized with Chinese culture, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, when I was working at Amazon, we, because you know, there's also like Amazon in China, and so we did a swap where we sent two people from the Prague Amazon office, from my department. We sent them to China, and we had two people from China come to ours, and it was just really interesting, like listening to the stories of like how they run things there, and just how different it is, but at the same time like you're achieving the same end goal. So I thought that was really cool. I'd love to go to China sometime. It's really interesting to me.
It is interesting place. I was there when I was 11, I
Mhm.
think. What I remember is that it was really hot. It was summer, and I didn't want to walk so fucking much. I was like complaining the whole time. But I remember that it was just huge. You know, everywhere I go, the squares, they're just fucking huge. Like, like I'm seeing the horizon, and it's just like big walls, and
Man.
huge place.
Yeah. So much history too. Like for
Mhm.
me, like I'd love to see Japan, but like not so much. Well, I mean, I would love to see Tokyo because I love like Blade Runner, and you know, it was,
Yeah.
inspired by Tokyo skyline, and so for me that would be awesome. But I really want to see the rural Japan, like that would just be really really nice.
The rule?
Yeah, yeah, because it's like you know, you have the little like the temples and just like all
Mhm.
out in the nature and
Mhm.
everything. I've always been fascinated with that.
Yeah, I guess a lot of Korean people, the Japanese culture is very, like I grew up with watching Japanese animations, reading Japanese comic books,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's fucking interstate. Their
Yeah.
culture is so rich.
Yeah.
So you've never been to Asia?
No. I want to.
Japan?
Yeah.
Hey, Korea is cool too, man.
Yeah. Actually, I have some friends that are there now, so maybe I can get out there and go stay. Like my buddy Jeremy, he's still in the army, and he just got stationed. I think he's gonna be near Seoul, so maybe I can just like, hey man, can I stay with you for a couple days? That would be nice.
Yeah, in Korea, you can do temple stays. I don't know if you can do it in other countries. You probably can, but in Korea, it's pretty popular.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we have Buddhist temples in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, in Korea, there's mountains everywhere.
Okay.
Like, wait, maybe I can just show you how the city looks. Like, see, if you see here, this is Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
There's which mountain was this? I don't even remember. But that's the mountain
Oh, you
in
can't
the
even see
city.
more.
And I think about 40% of Korean land is mountainous.
Mm-hmm.
I want to find how much of our land is mountainous, but it'll take too long. Anyways, so yeah, we have temples in the mountain, and you can go there. You pay a certain amount of money, and basically you stay in the temple for like a week or two,
Mm-hmm.
and you live with the monks. Like you learn the way how they live every day. You
Wow.
eat with them. You wake up and you do just how they live. And I got interested in Buddhism like after I came to Czech.
Mhm.
And when I go back to Korea, I really want to try this temple stay.
Yeah, that's really cool. So is Buddhism, is it speaking to you like as a religion? Do you think it's like a path that you can see yourself following?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe I'm not an expert in Buddhism or anything. It's just when I read about Buddhism or hear something about it, it's never like telling me what to do. It's just you can live this way and maybe you will suffer less.
Yeah.
That's basically what it doesn't tell you you're going to be happy, you're going to be rich.
Yeah.
Basically tells you can suffer less if you want to, you know. Basically Buddha says that life is about suffering,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think it's true, man. Like humans are pretty fragile.
Yeah.
Like you can like if you just sit here, you think you're going to be fine, but you're going to get hungry and shit. And you might get cold.
Yeah.
And there are many things that you can want, you know, in your
Mhm.
mind. And maybe you think that, okay, I'm not hungry anymore, but maybe I should accumulate more food. You know, like greed.
Yeah.
All these things, how mind works. And everything, like Buddha, I guess he interprets it as suffering. Because if you can't control your mind and wants, you can suffer.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. That's a really interesting concept.
Yeah. And this guy, Matthew Ricard, is a French monk,
Mm-hmm.
but he was a genetics engineering researcher. And then he turned into a monk later. And now he's been a monk for like 20 years. And he's like a leading scientist and a monk because he would meditate and he would be examined medically to find out how meditation affects your brain
Mm-hmm.
scientifically, because people say that okay, you meditate, you become more calm and peaceful, your life becomes better, but it was always dismissed as like a religious thing.
Yeah.
But he is actually proving it like scientifically how gray matters increase in certain parts of the brain where it makes serotonin and memory enhancements, social abilities, all these crazy things. And I think there's something to it.
Yeah.
Have you ever meditated?
No, I haven't. It's something I've always been interested in, but I never took the step.
Like, it's so weird, man, to sit down and just not really think about anything.
Yeah.
My girlfriend can't stand it. Because sometimes I tell her, like, come on, let's meditate. And every time we meditate, I finish, I open my eyes, she's already finished, like, long time ago.
Yeah.
She's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like my wife is really big into yoga, and so she's always doing this, and she's like, "Oh, do some yoga with me," and then I just get like bored with it. It's like, okay.
And I want to learn yoga, man. Sounds
Yeah.
cool.
I think it has a lot of health benefits, but I don't know. I like to run. Like for me, that's the best exercise. So like just to stay in one place and do like these really slow movements, I just need to approach it in a different way, and I haven't figured out how yet.
Yeah, running, man. I got into running. I was never I'm still not. I'm never a sports guy. Don't really want to sweat that much and all these things. But like when I was in the Air Force, like I felt stuck, you know, in the base,
Yeah.
and I wanted to do something. And I guess the easiest way is to exercise, you know, to feel good,
Mhm.
you know, to suffer less.
Yeah.
I thought I was suffering there, man. And what I found is that running was the best, because I'm just going somewhere, and it somehow makes my thoughts less. Just think less, maybe. Just think less. I'm just running, and
Yeah.
after I'm done, I'm fucking tired, and I'm not like obsessing over thoughts. And it also just feels natural, man. Like what we were like running from praise and shit, right? In the long time ago.
Yeah.
I think it's just in our genes to like run. I think it's part of us.
Yeah, yeah, and like for me, I think running is a form of meditation, because I zone out when I'm running. Like
Definitely.
I just don't. I'm not thinking of anything, and then like when the endorphins are releasing, and you get like the runner's high.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's just like a state of elevated consciousness. When I finish a really long run, you know, I'm just like, I feel good. Like I feel just like on top of the world.
Yeah. Do you play any sports?
No, I just like to run. I don't like anything else. Yeah, I don't like football or anything. I like to play basketball sometimes. Like that's fun, but not really competitively. And anything else I don't really care about.
And yesterday I went on your Facebook.
Mm.
You know, it was kind of like my homework,
Uh-huh.
because I was searching for how to make a good podcast interview.
Uh-huh.
And it said you should know about your guest.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, how? And so I wanted to ask you, it says former senior geospatial intelligence analyst,
Yeah.
as well as squad leader at United States Army. So what is senior geospatial intelligence analyst?
So geospatial intelligence analyst, geospatial intelligence, or I'll call it GeoInt. It's basically the study of intelligence derived from airborne platforms such as satellites or aircraft, and it's applying them to real life situations like creating maps or dealing with some kind of topography or even elevation. I mean, there's so many things you can do with it. Like, for example, it can be from satellites or from drones, or there's even more kind of platforms with this. But it's basically putting together some kind of intelligence product that allows you to see the complete picture. And so as the senior geospatial intelligence analyst at my unit, what I was doing was basically managing the assets and who would be assigned to, it was called exploiting the imagery. So you get like a satellite image, and there's some kind of like request for imagery from some other unit, I guess you could say, and they have this specific request, like, can you identify this? Can you tell us if this thing is anywhere to be found? And so, like, an analyst would look at this, say, yes, it's confirmed here, or no, it's not in the area, and then we would send it back to them. So that's one example, but also just creating maps, making helicopter landing zones, drop zones for airborne operations, determining elevation data. Yeah, I mean, there's so many more things, and also dealing with drones a lot, like through surveillance feed and just Overwatch. Like if a unit is doing a mission, like on the ground, like in, I don't know, Iraq or Afghanistan, like you have the Overwatch of them from the drone to like see what's happening. So you can also make a storyboard after the mission to like send to the commander and be like, yeah, this is what happened, and then he'll be happy with that.
I read a while ago about in the military that they're using like PS4 pads and Xbox pads to control the drones, and they're like, you can like kill people with it. Controlling the pads.
I don't know about that.
That's not what you were doing?
No. No. Yeah, like the drones. So for example, the Predator or the Warrior Alpha, Grey Eagle. I think they keep changing the names of these things, but yeah, it's like a basically like a shack, like a wooden, or not wooden, but like a metal shack that is fit for two people, and then there's one person on this side of it who is going to be the payload operator. So what they'll do is like control the movement of the camera and, you know, set some kind of parameters for the drone to fly in this way. And then the person sitting on this seat is the pilot, and so they're really controlling like the orbit and the elevation and the takeoff and landing. And so, I mean, that's how it is. And it's really like complex systems. It's, I don't know, maybe with like the PS4 controllers, it's like with these like portable drones that you can like stuff in your backpack, like. But yeah, for the big ones, it's got to be controlled through this, and they're really the only ones that are carrying, you know, ammunition. So yeah, I don't know.
Maybe in the future, though.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, especially since even like commercial drones are being weaponized now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think drones are the future.
I think so too, man. And now you can like get the license.
Yeah.
In drone license, I guess. Well, I don't know what you call it, but
Yeah. One thing that I was doing also in Iraq is we're doing this called route reconnaissance. So when we got the information that like a U.S. Army unit was going to travel from point A to point B, we would send a drone, and we would like scan the entire length of the road with like infrared technology, and that way we could see like if any holes have been dug, because it would appear a different color because it had been recently moved. And so then we could say, hey, this is probable that there's a bomb here, you know, send out the explosive ordnance and go check it out. And so that way, like I don't even know, but we found so many bombs that way that would have just like blown up convoys.
Where was it?
Iraq.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, and so yeah, we were doing that and just trying to, you know, ensure that they would be safe when they're going to these places. So I mean, there's so many applications for GeoInt that you can use. I mean, there's a lot more, but I can't talk about it, like, unfortunately. But it's really cool stuff. I think some of the classified stuff is gonna become declassified soon because the technology is really expanding rapidly, and it can get used in commercial settings too.
Yeah, I guess that's how things work these days. You know, military, they don't need it anymore. They don't use it, and then it's commercialized.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder what they have now when like Google Earth came out, and like you can just like look at anything, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking that, man, what's this the military use now?
There's a few programs, including Google Earth, but it's on like a different server, So it's a top secret server. So a lot of the information is sensitive to like military assets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot more stuff than you would find just on regular Google Earth. It's like, I don't know, for example, like enemy installations and like this kind of stuff.
Man, am I gonna get visited by like guys in black suits?
No, I'm not talking about anything crazy. I think most of the stuff is like open source intelligence anyway. Like you can find out.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, all of this stuff, not most of the stuff. Not talking about anything
But
secret.
so, how did you get into this geospatial int? Like, because when you go to, or do you get to choose like which?
Yeah, I chose the job because it seemed really interesting to me, and it seemed like it had the highest potential for skills to absorb that I could use when I left the army.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, it gave me a top secret security clearance for, almost 8 years, and that looks really nice on a CV.
Yeah. So, like now, do you apply these skills that you absorbed in real life?
Yeah, I do. At the moment, not really, because I'm taking a break from everything so I can focus on this semester because of this statistics.
Fucking school, man.
yeah, man. I'm taking a break.
You were in the army for 7.5 years, and the school, man, it's not easy.
Yeah, numbers, man.
Even for geospatial intelligence analyst, man. Okay.
Yeah, statistics.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a break with that. But aside from that, yeah, I used it pretty often. Yeah, I mean, even when I was working at Amazon, I was doing something similar. I was doing intelligence analysis for Amazon, and I could bring in a lot of my skills from doing GeoInt. I could create these kind of products to put in reports, and yeah, just give it a little bit of extra flavor.
We are now at about 50 minutes mark.
All
Let's do like 5 to 10 minutes longer,
Okay.
and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
I'll just replace the battery.
All right.
Oh no, it recorded for 30 minutes. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I should keep going. Nice. Oh yeah, and I wanted to ask you something. What was I gonna ask? Oh yeah. So you came to Czech, and you decided to study, like at UNIP.
Well, for me, it was kind of a necessity because I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do for a visa so that I can actually legally live here. And I was like, well, might as well study and get a European degree, like since I'm planning to stay here anyway.
Right.
So it was just kind of a best of both worlds, like to do that.
And do you find like, because you're what, 28, 29? But do you feel like sometimes when you're in school, do you feel like sometimes you're surrounded by just too young of kids? Do you get this impression at all?
Yeah, like the first, I don't know, was it like the second year I was there or the first year? I don't remember. But there was a girl sitting next to me, and she was like, "How old are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm 27." And she's like, "I'm 17." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So that was pretty crazy. Like, but now I realize there's like a anywhere from, I don't know what, like 12-year age gap at this point. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy sometimes. And then like sometimes when the teachers are like, "Oh, none of you know what it's like to be a manager," and okay, or like, "None of you were alive when this happened." Okay. Yeah, so like little things like this are, they happen pretty often. But aside from that, it's like, nah, it's not weird. I mean, everybody's there to learn. I'm there to learn.
And so, we are there to learn, right?
Yeah.
And these days I'm like thinking about, because first year I lived in the dorms, and naturally I was just hanging out with people from school. They were always coming over to the flat. But now that I live with my girlfriend, who is sleeping, and I would have shown you the house, but she was just sleeping there.
Oh yeah, okay.
Now that I live with my girlfriend, I live in my own flat. I don't really socialize too much.
Yeah.
Just like specific people, like maybe 2, 3 people that I hang out. But other than that, I don't like make effort to expand. Like,
Yeah. I'm the
and
same.
and I was thinking that maybe I should, but I feel like there's a bit of like because of the age difference, it's not that much difference. But yeah, like you said, I'm 27 now,
Yeah.
and some people are like 17, 18, 20,
Yeah.
and while I'm not someone who cares so much about the age, but there is still a little bit of difference,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just having a bit of not hard time, but just contemplating if how or if I should even bother, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, like I've met a couple of the professors that I really get along with, and we've like spent time together. Like after the class has
Mhm.
ended, like I've got to know them pretty well, and
Mhm.
like I just have pretty often more in common with some of the professors, you know, and that's pretty cool. But it's just it comes down to like you know just like life experience, I guess, you know,
Mhm.
like because you've already experienced a lot in life. Like I've already experienced a lot in life, and I'm not saying somebody who's like 18 hasn't experienced a lot in life, but like maybe they haven't experienced a lot in the professional
They
world
haven't
or
so much.
outside of school. Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's hard to talk about, you know, like big world problems if somebody hasn't experienced it firsthand yet. You know, so for me that's kind of a little bit of a barrier to get to know people. And plus, I mean, me and my wife live together. We have a cat. You know, like we like do our own thing. So
Yeah.
for me, I also don't really socialize that much. It's just exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
So do you like have many friends in Czech?
I would say too many, but no, it's good. It's enough, I think. I always feel bad because I'm always like super busy, and so I never really get a chance to like spend time with them. So I get like messages like, "Hey, like, can you do this and this?" And I like 9 times out of 10, I have to be like, "No, like, I'm sorry, like, I have to do this," and you know, so it's like it almost makes me feel guilty like for having friends because I always have to like turn down something, but hopefully,
That's yeah.
yeah, and it's just like uncomfortable. It makes me like uncomfortable to
Me
always
too,
be
man.
like, no, I can't. I'm
Me
sorry.
too, man. And you know, like sometimes, like because you know, I live with my girlfriend for like 2 years now,
Yeah.
and it's different. It's a different setting, man. And
Yeah.
when someone wants to hang out, like, kind of want to hang out, but at the same time, I just want to be home with my girlfriend and
Yeah,
just do my
man.
shit,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
not get out of my daily routine thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have the same?
Yeah, I love to be comfortable because I mean we have a cat, you know, so I like to just hang out with the cat, hang out with my wife, watch a TV show, work on some music, just relax, cook dinner. You know, I just don't feel the need anymore to really go out and like get drunk and like, you know, this kind of stuff. I don't even know the last time I was drunk. Like, it's just
Really?
yeah. It's just
Wait.
like not interesting to me anymore.
Were you a getting drunk kind of guy before?
Like when I was in the army, yeah, because I would get bored. Like if I was just like in garrison, like on a base, you know, I would just like, what am I gonna do, you know? So I would just go out
Right.
with friends and drink. That was like the thing to do. But I don't know. Since I got out of the army, I don't really drink much. It's like maybe I go out for drinks like once every month, every 2 months, you know, and then it's like an event, you know, like it has to be like some kind of special occasion, and then I'll go for that.
So you don't drink alcohol, and not really.
Not really.
anymore.
I mean, like maybe like once a week we'll have a glass of wine at home. You know,
Mhm.
just like little stuff like this. I don't ever just like drink a beer, you know, just because like oh I want a beer. Like,
Because that's what I do these days. I don't know why, man. Like this semester, I
Yeah.
start to fucking drink like every day.
Yeah, maybe that'll help
Like-
me with the statistics, man.
Maybe.
I'm just like this, you know, numbers and stuff really like mess me up, but like the logical application of it, I can figure it out. But it's like when it comes down to like the terminology, like the mathematic terminology, like it just my brain just does not like grasp that, you know.
Yeah, me too.
So it's really tough.
Did you go to the makeup class?
No, I didn't.
I
No.
didn't either.
Yeah, I had another class at that time, so I was
Okay.
like,
I didn't, but I just didn't go. I wanted to stay home.
yeah, nice.
Fuck, I shouldn't say this on this podcast.
Yeah, I sent him a message though, and I was like, yeah, like I'm a little worried, you know, this, and this, and he's like, yeah, don't worry about it, it'll be okay. Okay, thanks.
Oh,
Thanks.
you're really concerned.
Yeah, I'm concerned because it's like, I mean, I failed algebra the first time I took it. And then
Me
it's-
too.
Yeah.
Actually, I failed it twice.
Oh man, yeah, I took it the second time. I passed it with exactly a 70% on the second time. But I mean, I was really, you know, busting my ass, like doing tutoring and, you know, learning online and like all this stuff to try to pass. And so for this, I think I'll pass because it seems to be a lot to do with the software, and I'm
Mhm.
pretty good at like figuring out software, but just like applying it and like understanding like what he wants is like gonna be hard for me. Like describe the derivative variable of the, like I don't know what that means. You know, I don't even know if
Yeah.
what I said is a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be fine. Be optimistic.
And the last thing before we wrap it up, you play in a metal band,
Yeah.
Arthur Dane,
Yeah.
and you're the vocal
Hmm.
singer. You play instrument,
Yeah, I play guitar.
guitar, and vocal.
Yeah.
And like, what did you call it? The genre, heavy metal or just metal?
I would. Man.
Both.
Yeah, I would
Sometimes.
just call it metal.
Metal.
Like, because we just mix so many different styles in it. I mean, people could say like, oh, it's black metal, it's death metal, it's melodic death metal, it's blackened death metal. It's just like there's so many
Right.
sub-genres. Like, I really hate that. Like, I would just call it metal. Like,
Hmm.
keep it simple.
And I like all music,
Mhm.
but metal is probably the one that is the most distant
Mm-hmm.
for me, and I don't really know much about metal.
Yeah.
Like jazz or rock music, like I get it, like I can enjoy it, but metal is very strong.
Yeah.
Like it's like in the face.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure how to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So how did you get to sing like that? And how did you get into metal?
Well, for how I got into metal, I don't know. I think I started listening to Metallica when I was like 10 or 11, and then you know, I think that's like the entry into metal music for a lot of people is Metallica, and then from there I started listening to Iron Maiden, and then it just kind of like progressed, and then because you know, like these bands, like the vocals are pretty like good, like I don't know what you say, like understandable,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, so it can appeal to a lot of people. And then I just gradually got into like the more extreme like parts of metal because I was like, oh, like I want it to be faster, I want it to be louder, like, and so I gradually progressed to that. And I mean, now I don't even really listen to much metal. Like the metal I listen to is either like old or it's just like bands that I know personally that I want to like support. So I like buy their records or their
Mhm.
shirts or whatever, and I'll support them like that. And I try to keep up with what's current, you know, like. But I don't know, like it just doesn't really like grasp me like I used to. And so I'm listening to a lot of jazz and just like laid back music. I mean, like I've probably gone through Miles Davis' whole discography in the last month. You know, like I want something that's more challenging and avant-garde. Like I actually do
Mhm.
vocals in another band called Lichgate, and it's
Mhm.
very avant-garde. It's like the time signatures and everything. It's
Avant-garde.
yeah,
Still metal,
yeah, still
Mhm.
metal, but
but
it's
more like epic.
yeah, epic, and then just very quirky. Like just try to imagine jazz metal with
Oh.
like a church organ sound on top of it.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so I think it's pretty interesting. Like I'm interested in this kind of metal,
Mhm.
but right now like just like the traditional stuff just isn't doing it for me. So
Mhm.
I'm just listening to like old school rap, old metal, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And for the vocals, yeah, I don't know.
Like when did you find that? Because not everybody can like scream and growl or I don't know what you call it, but not everybody can do it.
Yeah.
And how did you find out you can do it? Like you just try to do it that way and it just comes out, or did you like have to like develop it? I guess of course you have to.
Yeah, I
develop
have
it,
to
but-
develop it. So like I do vocal exercises every week and I try to like build my voice. And so I do it from my diaphragm. Like I never do it from my throat because that's how you can lose your voice. And so I don't know. For me, I started out doing just like the Metallica type vocals where they're kind of like raspy but not like the growling and screaming. And so I was like, well, I'm playing this music and the lyrical content is very very dark and I don't know how you want to say it, like dark and angry, I guess. And so I was like, I need to like develop my vocal style to do that. And that's when I started learning to do the lows and the highs. And so I found some vocalists who I thought were really good at what they do in this style. And then I would just like practice and try to emulate what they were doing. And then after I got the basics down for that, then I developed my own style, which hopefully is a little bit unique from what other people are doing.
How do you practice like this from diaphragm, like that? Like,
Yeah, it's like building air. So like I can, my problem is when I record, I just go full out. Like I don't use like a proper technique or anything because I want it to sound like really like raw and emotional and like full of like all the whatever the energy is for the song. But when I do it live, then I use like a proper technique because it's like we did a 10 show tour last December, and it's like if I was doing it like in the studio, I would have lost my voice after like the second night, and so I have to be like more controlled, and so it's like more like a, but it's like forced out, and then I can get these same type of sounds, but with like a lower volume, and so it works better for live performance.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, it's
and
fun.
You're going on a tour on which date was it?
Yeah, March 14, 15, and 16 in 2019, and it's actually going to be the debut live shows for Arthadane, because originally like we weren't even planning to play live. It was just going to be a studio project where we would put out albums, but we got invited to do this tour, and yeah, it could be really fun.
So it's like a big thing for your band.
Yeah. It's like the first time that
Yeah.
we've like played
Nice.
live with this band, so I think it'll be fun.
And the bass player is also from school.
Yeah. He's actually the other guitarist.
Oh,
and
the
so
guitarist.
we've got two guitarists because there's a lot of harmonies and these kind of parts, and so he's also from UNIP. Yeah.
And
he was-
the other guy, there's another person?
yeah, there's the drummer. Right now we're working with the session drummer who played on our last record, and so he'll be performing live with us. And yeah, right now we're just looking for a bassist for the live shows. That should be
Cool.
hopefully easy.
One last thing. Do you think you can play a riff? One of your favorite riff?
Oh, I could try.
But we only have a classical guitar here.
Okay.
But if you can play something that you want, I think
Any riff.
any
that's my
riff,
favorite?
yeah, for the viewers. Wait. Ready.
All right. So one of my favorite riffs would probably have to be "Fade to Black" by Metallica,
Oh yeah.
and I really love this because it has such a great atmosphere. So I'll just play that.
Yeah. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Let's wrap it up here. I think we did like an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Wasn't so bad.
No.